Welcome to Weekly Climate Change News. This is Isha Barge. The headlines are: Macron gives symbolic gift to the White House. Single-use plastic bag reaches deepest part of the ocean. Plastic waste in Indonesia at crisis level. New orangutan species discovered, already threatened by construction. Almost half of the world's biodiversity hotspot extremely vulnerable to climate change. The Marshall Islands bound to disappear due to rising sea level. China built floating solar farm to cut carbon emissions from use of coal. Innovative Geo-Engineering trial aims save melting Arctic ice. Strawless in Seattle. Campaign prevent 2.3 million straws from reaching the ocean in 1 month. Smart train will suck pollution to bring clean air into the cities. We start this week recap. Start with one of the most talked about reunion in political world. French President Emmanuel Macron visited the US for the first time, where he gifted his American counterpart an oak tree than they planted on the White House lawn in his declaration about symbolic green gift. Macron stated 100 years ago, American soldiers fought in Belleau to defend our freedom. This oak tree, my gift, will be a reminder at the White House of this tie that binds us. Trump, who continued with his intention to not include the US in Paris Agreement, showed no interest of discussing climate change during the joint press conference and instead focused on the topic of Syria, North Korea, and Iran. Regardless of the president's decision, a coalition of US states, cities, and businesses has pledged to tackle climate change. And changing the subject to one of the most pressing issues right now, single-use plastic pollution. A recent study by the United Nations Environment Programme show that human activities are reaching previously untouched depths. The evidence? A single-use plastic bag found in Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean, located about 10,000 meters below the sea. UNEP has urged the international community to reduce the production of plastic waste and appealed to the Global Monitoring Network to share data on deep-sea plastic pollution. Deep-sea debris database was used by the scientists from UNEP and World Conservation Monitoring Center to conduct this study, launched in 2017 for public use. The database contained more than 30 years of photos and videos of debris collected by remotely operated vehicles and deep-sea submersibles. And while pollution is slowly reaching new depths, the situation is not getting any better in the surface. Indonesia in Southeast Asia is struggling to deal with accumulated amount of rubbish in urban areas. It has gotten so bad that a local military forces had to call to clear a major waterway in the city of Bandung. This was a call to action for national that seemed to be acknowledging the issue. On social media, people now share and see pictures of polluted rivers, and further activities focus on educating children about waste and on creating a market for recycled plastic. Moving on to the native fauna of area, we find the Tapanuli orangutan, a new species that was only discovered 6 months ago in northern Sumatra. The bad news, it's already under threat of extinction. There are only 800 orangutan left, and their habitat is in danger as the Chinese-run state company Sino Hydro plan to construct a dam in the area. The Indonesian government has already approved the project. Scientist Gabriela Fredrickson said the impact would not to be limited to destruction of the main habitat of the Tapanuli orangutan, but thanks to the dam, roads and tunnel and electricity lines, it will also cause extinction of 2 of the 3 other subpopulations. But the Tapanuli orangutan is not the only species currently at risk. In fact, the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services reveal alarming climate change effects, including sea level rise and extreme weather, are jeopardizing the majority of biodiversity in the Asia-Pacific area. 17 of the world's 36 biodiversity hotspots are located in that region, where 200 million people depending on forest for food, medicine, and fuel. The group proposes sustainable use of resources and for governments to address the causes of biodiversity loss. Other terrible consequences of the rising sea level seem imminent in the Marshall Islands. The phased drowning has world temperature rise. A US military supported research say that even if sea level rise is not imminent, unpredictable and extreme weather will render habitation impossible in this area. The research say water may become undrinkable as huge waves crashing onto the shore will contaminate fresh water. Coral reefs protecting the islands from waves are bleached and bound to extinct unless the Earth's temperature is stabilized. Now focusing on a good news, one of the leading global economies invest in initiative to fight climate change. The Chinese government has converted a collapsed coal mines to a floating solar farm. The solar farm powers 15,000 homes, setting the pace for similar projects across the country. The floating panel do not interfere with territorial ecosystem. Coal burning is the main source of carbon emission in China, resulting to that of million people yearly. And to fight the rising sea levels, this month, North Meadow Lake in northern Alaska is hosting some ambitious and creative research to save the rapidly diminishing sea ice in the Arctic and slowing the critical effect of global warming. Currently, the problem seems to be getting worse as the sea, darker than the ice, absorb more heat and increase meltage. Ice 911, a campaign founded by engineer inventor Leslie Field, hopes to change this by attempting to restore the reflective lost by the Arctic with sand. Tiny balls of reflective sand will be sprinkled on the frozen lake to see if this can prevent the lake ice from melting and slow the process down. They should reflect 90% of the sun's heat. Tiny balls are better than reflective shade over the ice, has thus good risk trapping wildlife under it. If the tests this month are successful, the company wants to do the same on area of Arctic ice, that total size of Costa Rica, 19,000 square miles. In the west coast of United States, our creative campaign was launched by the Lonely Whale Foundation. The project called Strawless in Seattle is an effort to eliminate use of plastic utensils and bags. The campaign launched in September 2017 and encouraged local businesses to incorporate degradable alternatives to single-use plastic straw. During the one-month campaign, 150 restaurants were engaged. Over 2.3 million single-use plastic straws were removed from the city. Currently, America uses around 500 million straws every day, putting a toll on marine life and ocean habitat. For urban areas, and multinational startup invented a bench that fights pollution, targeting to decrease it by 30%. The city tree structure is a mix of 13 feet high green verget wall with an integrated park bench. As its CEO stated, this structure does the same pollution absorbing work as that 275 normal trees, but requires 99% less space. After being brought to Brussels and London, City Tree will also stall in Paris, later in Asia, where air pollution issues are rampant. Thanks for watching us. This is Isha Barge. See you soon next week.